Intermittent fasting. So basically, ancient Chinese wisdom tells us eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. That is exactly the reverse of what people do. So understand that there are different time periods throughout the day, these 2-hour segments that organs correlate to. 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. is the stomach, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. is the spleen. So the spleen and stomach work together to form our digestion. So basically, the peak period of digestion, the best time that we can take in the most nutrients and get the most out of our foods, is going to be from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Now, if you're the person that says, hey, Jared, I'm not hungry until noon, I just want a cup of coffee, then what that tells me is that you probably have a weak digestion. And what those organs are trying to do during that time when they're at their peak is rest and recover. And then they build up energy, and then you don't start to get hungry until later. So that's a good sign that your digestion has got some issues. Weak digestion means that the fire of the spleen energy is not heating the stomach. So basically what we see is that after you eat the food, it takes longer for the food to be transformed and then transported, so that different energies of the food are also not broken up as clearly as they should be. So there should be this light, clear energy from your food that rises up, it nourishes your heart, nourishes your brain, and then you should have turbid energy that goes down into the intestines. If those are not differentiated clearly, you can have turbid energy that goes up into the heart and mind and the other organs. You get sleepy, you get foggy headed. That means that your digestion is not working well enough. It's not sending the right energies to your brain, it's sending the wrong energies. The turbid energy is the one that needs to go downward into your intestines. The liquids get taken by the bladder, the intestines then deal with it, take out more nutrients before expelling. So the best way to fix weak digestion is to start slowly. So what I would recommend is in the morning at 7 a.m. when the stomach just starts to get going, you have one of two things. You can have congee, which is like a porridge, and ideally made from white rice or millet. Those are going to be the best congees. If you say, I don't want congee, or you know what, don't say I don't want it, because it's pretty darn good. I would highly recommend it. Congee, for those who don't know, is the exact same thing as porridge. So the way that you make rice congee would be the same way you make rice. You put rice in, you clean it off a little bit, you dump that water out, you put more water in, and instead of just putting just enough water to make rice, you put way too much water. So then you get this soupy rice liquid, and then you actually overcook the rice. So you cook it for longer than what you would cook for regular rice, and it even breaks those grains down more. That makes it very, very easy for the body to digest. Another thing that you can have is going to be bone broth, which is actually very popular right now. That is a very good thing to have as your first meal of the day, as you break your fast. Those two things are great. That will then gradually get your system going, and over a period of time, you should find that you're going to get a bigger and bigger appetite in the morning. But before that happens, stick with your bone broth and or your rice porridge. Oatmeal counts. Oatmeal is better than nothing. The problem is that oats are slightly on the cooler side. So rice is considered bland. It's neither warming nor cooling. It's nice right in the middle. White rice is probably the perfect grain out there. Many of the other grains are a little bit too cooling. So if you run on the hot side, which most people don't, but some people do, oatmeal would be good. If you run on the cool side, the weak side, the deficient side, which is what most people are, then oats would not be as good as white rice. Rice Krispie cereal is, don't even know how to respond to that. It's technically, I suppose, some sort of puffed rice and liquid phlegm known commonly as milk. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. The Buddhists have many texts, many ancient texts about skipping dinner. So what they say is you have a nice big breakfast, you have a good sized lunch, and then after lunch, you're done eating for the day. And that actually fits the whole intermittent fasting. In modern times, it fits that perfectly. But a lot of people do it the opposite. They save their meal until dinner. Whereas the Buddhists traditionally would say, you're getting that all wrong. You want breakfast and lunch, and you want to skip dinner, which also matches the Chinese medicine view of 7 to 11 is your spleen and stomach. That's right in that time that the Buddhists are having their meals. Well, I suppose if you're eating at 7 and you finish around noon, that's going to be a solid 19-hour fast. Now, they will often have tea and water, but believe it or not, ancient times didn't have sugar drinks. So basically no drinks with any calories, with any sugar, with anything like that. If your digestion is very weak, it might not be the best idea to just start with the big breakfast, the big lunch, and then skip dinner. You might want to go back to the eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. So basically what that would be, it would be kind of the same thing, but you would have a little bit of something at dinner just because maybe you weren't able to eat as much food. Especially if we go back to somebody with a really weak digestion. For breakfast, we're only having a little bit of bone broth, a little bit of rice porridge, rice congee. So then by lunch, we'll start to get a little bit hungry, but we might not really be able to eat that much. So that's just part of the process to eventually getting to either eating a large breakfast, good sized lunch, and a smaller dinner. Or if you want to do the traditional Buddhist route, you have the large breakfast, large lunch, and then you skip dinner completely. I suppose that would be a beginner's fast. Yes, you're fasting for 12 hours. That should be normal for most people. Well, if you wanted to go really pro, you certainly could extend the 12 hours. You could start simple by having dinner a little bit earlier. I know that back in the day, for instance, in the US, back in the day, the farmers would often have dinner or supper, as they called it, at around 4 p.m. So they're basically done eating at 5 p.m. They, of course, wake up very early. They're waking up around 5 o'clock, so they might start eating around 6 o'clock. So they're still in that, actually that would be a little bit better. That would be a 13-hour fast. I would say, according to ancient wisdom, actually, the first thing that you want to follow are the energies of the universe, the energies of your body, which are telling you the best thing is going to be eating a good breakfast and a good lunch, and dinner is kind of whatever. If you can get to the point where you can have just breakfast and lunch and skip dinner, you'll probably find that you're functioning at a higher level in general. If your digestion is really good, those grumblies that you get during dinner time, actually, if you've eaten well at breakfast and lunch and your digestion is good, you shouldn't really feel much of that. You should feel satiated. It's when there are imbalances that then we start to feel these strong feelings because we're not getting the nutrients we need. Our digestion is weak. It's not taking in the nutrients that we really need from breakfast and lunch. If you're really not going to be eating dinner, in theory you would eat a little bit more, but if we follow the King Prince Pauper rule, your dinner should be small anyway. It shouldn't be a lot of food. It should be simple things like just like a little bit of soup, something like that. Since you have all this extra time because you skipped dinner, be sure to like and subscribe and put a bunch of comments below.